TF2's melee weapons are probably the most fascinating of the 3 weapon slots shared amongst every class, and become even more fascinating on the topic of classes that take the use of melees to the next level, such as Demo Knight. Now, if there are 2 things pretty well known about Demo Knight, it's that 1, they are pretty funny. Running around slicing at people with swords using a bunch of different buffs, like copy-pasting whatever the kunai does, or that axe with the guaranteed crit rate. Then second is that Demo Knights do a lot of charging, which is why I think it's so strange that pretty much almost no one uses or talks about the Persian Persuader. I mean, come on, I see more Devilmen charging it with a bottle. And I even see more scouts using the sun on a stick. So with that said, let's fix that and take a look at the melee-only subclasses least used melee, and easily one of the most criminally underrated weapons in the entirety of the game, the Persian Persuader. The Persian Persuader is a weapon that focuses less on what it does as a sword, and more of what it can do for your shield, which is very key because charging is a very important aspect of using Demo Knight. Charging is not only one of the best movement abilities in the game that you can make even better by learning to do things like Trimps, which allows you to glide across entire points of the map, but is also a huge damage dealing tool that turns the base 65 damage of a melee weapon into a mini crit or full crit, which you can also combo with damage from a shield bash. The thing about charging is that it is a rechargeable ability, which means that you don't always have access to it, and if you want to recharge it, you either need to kill an enemy, which will refill some of your charge back, or you miss your swing entirely, and then there's a soldier shooting a random crit rocket with your name on it. Or you simply just wait the 8 or 12 second cooldown, which for TF2 is quite long and can sometimes stagger the effectiveness. The Persian Persuader counters all of this with some very good charge related buffs. Firstly, every time you just hit an enemy, it refills your charge by 20%, which is nice because it benefits you even if you weren't the one to kill the said enemy. But more importantly, if there were 2 words that I would use to describe the utility of the Persian Persuader, those 2 words would have to be ammo boxes. With the Persian Persuader, ammo boxes are now useful and can be picked up to refill between 20 to 100% of your charge meter. This allows refilling your charge to be way faster and way easier, making charging more free, especially if you're just considering to use it as a way of movement. Even destroyed building parts can be picked up and used as ammo to refill a charge, which is pretty strange since active dispensers don't do the same. So yeah, don't worry, engineer. I'm not gonna destroy your dispenser for parts. Why would I do that? There isn't really a limit to how, or more specifically when, you can use an ammo box either, since a cool gimmick about the Persian Persuader is that you can actually pick them up during a charge too, which extends it to fit the length of how much was refilled. Charge extending is more of a glitch than it actually being a feature though, which does make it a bit finicky. But there are other videos such as this one from Mr. Demo Knight TF2 himself that already covers all the intricacies about charge extending. So if you're interested, feel free to go check it out. The link will be in the description below. Things like this is why playing around ammo box locations and knowing where those locations are on a map is absolutely key on how to use the Persian Persuader effectively, since ammo boxes let you pull off plays like this one, where a pyro Jim B53 thinks he's the funniest guy using his air blast, but I back away, go for a charge, alright, there goes the air blast again, let me pick up this ammo box, and then boom! It's a free kill, huh? It's actually pretty impressive how well you can use this weapon as a baiting tool, because of people usually thinking that Demo Knights are pretty much helpless after they use their charge. An assumption you can take full advantage of, since most enemies who are chasing you after you miss your charge are probably going to be killed by the second one. Basically, the weapon lets you adapt the strategy of if one charge doesn't work, just do it again. But it doesn't stop there, because map placements and building parts aren't even the only things that can drop ammo, since newsflash, killing enemies drops ammo too. The thing about being a Demo Knight is, of course, to kill someone, you have to be in their face, meaning you are almost guaranteed to pick up the ammo box that drops when a player is killed, which when comboed with the 20% refill on hit, automatically refills your charge. And when you can build it this fast, it makes for the ability to do some pretty speedy plays that I like to call speed killing. The Defining it is basically in the name. You charge in to kill a target, use the ammo box drop to instantly refill it, and then you can charge in towards another target. While yes, the other swords can similarly refill on kill too, but the Persian Persuader is the only sword that can reliably do it instantly. Even the design of the Persian Persuader is fire. Like, look at this design. Whoa, hold on. Like, is it the downsides that makes no one use this weapon? What even are the downsides? Oh, right. The Persian Persuader, at the expense of perfectly synergizing with the Demo Knight subclass, completely removes most of the synergy with his other actual weapons and playstyles. This is because you lose a whole 80% ammo capacity on both his grenade launchers and sticky bomb launchers. Now, if you're running a purely Demo Knight loadout, then that's fine. At that point, the weapon technically doesn't even have any downsides. But with the very popular hybrid knight playstyle on the rise, the Persian Persuader's menacing debuff makes it a pretty horrid weapon to use, since it doesn't even leave you with a full second clip. The optimal items you can combo with it dims your options way down. Pairing it with grenades isn't a terrible thing, I guess, since you would be running around for ammo boxes with the Persian Persuader anyway. And there is also weapons like the loose cannon that somewhat work decently, with the self-damaging ability being a huge buff to map traversal. But for the most part, the other grenade launchers, or more specifically the sticky bomb launchers, are just out of the picture with this weapon, since using the Persian Persuader without a shield or extra movement buffs is the equivalent of you just nerfing yourself. At the very least though, it does pair well with the Demo Man's actual Demo Knighting tools. More specifically, one of the main points of this video is shields. The Charge and Targe firstly has the best resistances and is a very good pick if you find yourself being constantly harassed by a group of pyros, or your team's contesting in a much more close-in area with a bunch of explosive spam, since the Charge and Targe adds on more durability for both of those scenarios. The Tide Turner is alright. It does make your damage output way lower, with it only capping at the mini crit swing threshold instead of building to full crits, but on the other hand, it is the best shield to use as a movement option, since the full turn rate lets you pull off some really cool trimps. Lastly though, has to be probably my favorite option, the Splendid Screen. The resistances from it are at a bit of a middle ground, making them decent enough for you to tank some significant damage sources, and the faster charge rate stacks on with all the other buffs that quick refill your charge, making it the best option for when you're going for really long speed kills. So now that you have the Persian Persuader in one hand and the shield of your choice in the other, if there was one other tip that I would add on to maximize the utility of the weapon, it would be take account of the ammo acronym that took me about 10 seconds to make, which is otherwise listed as always make material observations. Basically meaning that before you're charging in, take account on if there's anything around your target that would give you enough ammo to refill your charge so you can use it to go for another target, or use it as a very quick and powerful escaping tool. For example, things like if your full crit swing and shield bash combo will actually kill the class you're targeting to drop an ammo box. To be fair, the selection of which classes you can insta-kill isn't very vague, and besides, you can still deal a whole bunch of damage even to the more tankier classes like an overhealed soldier or a heavy. Otherwise though, consider if there are any ammo boxes nearby you can retreat to, or an unattended engineer building you can destroy and pick up the parts from. If you want to maximize the Persian Persuader and make it the good weapon it's supposed to be, you have to make use of refilling your charges with ammo boxes as often as possible, so you can benefit over the staggering downsides that the weapon uses. I think the reason overall that no one really uses the Persian Persuader is less about the way that Demo Man poses when he uses it like he's about to suplex a door or something, and more because of how the Persian Persuader as a weapon itself does weirdly fit into the meta of Demo Man's melees, because as a regular Demo Man you wouldn't really use any of his swords. Hybrid Knights would rather opt into weapons that don't generally nerf his base kit, like the Skull Cutter or the Claymore, however you pronounce that weapon's name. And even full Demo Knights usually just use the Eyelander because, to be fair, it is better in every way and pretty much is one of the best melee weapons in the game, tied with the Market Gardener. Ha! Funny shovel! I do think though that despite its limited variety and inferiorness to the Eyelander like other Devilman swords, it is still a weapon that you as a Devilman player should consider using. It's fun because of how much faster paced it makes Demo Knight gameplay, and the new gimmicks it adds to the class, such as charge extending to cover huge distances, or perfectly maneuvering around a group of enemies to kill them. So the Persian Persuader, in my opinion, one of the most underrated melee weapons in TF2. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate all the support that I've been seeing between my YouTube and TikTok on my TF2 content, and all the feedback really genuinely does mean a lot to me. And I just want to thank you all for giving my videos a chance. If you have any weapons that you really like and find underrated, let me know know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to do all that funny YouTube stuff such as liking and subscribing. I appreciate all of you for all the recent support, and I will see you all in the next silly little video I make. Bye-bye.